Good morning to all. Now let us discuss about thermodynamics 1. In the thermodynamics 1, we are going to discuss about nature of heat and work. Suppose we know that what is system. System is nothing but we are going to take a substance for examination is system. The remaining part of the system is surroundings. The combination of system and surroundings is called as universe. Now suppose the system changes from one form into another form, the change in energy takes place. The change in energy will be accompanied by the change in heat, light, etc. So we know that work is nothing but the unit of energy is measured in joules. So now let us discuss about the relationship between work done and the heat. So we know that work done is directly proportional to heat. So W is directly proportional to H. So in order to remove the proportionality constant, we are introducing a new term called J. That is nothing but joules. So J is joules, W is work done, H is heat produced. So J is mechanical equivalent of heat. So therefore, for the expenditure of 4.184 joules of mechanical work, 1 calorie of heat is produced. Therefore, we can tell that 1 calorie is equal to 4.184 joules. So now let us discuss about what is state function and point function. Now let us discuss about what is state function. So state function is nothing but it is a thermodynamic term. It is used to determine the property whose value does not depend upon the path. It depends only on the initial and the final state is known as state functions. For example, state functions are also called as point function. So in the state function, it does not depend upon the path. It depends only on the initial and final states of the system. The state function depends upon the current state of a thermodynamic system and it is independent of the path. It is independent of the path followed. For example, state functions, examples of state functions are mass, energy, that is enthalpy, internal energy, Gibbs free energy, entropy, pressure, temperature, volume, etc. or state function. That means it does not depend upon the path followed. Now let us discuss about what is path function. So path function is a thermodynamic term which depends upon the path followed. So this path function, value of path function depends upon the path taken to reach that specific value. So in other terms, path function depends upon the path taken to reach the final state from an initial state. So path function is also called as process function. So path function gives different values for different paths. For example, mechanical work, heat, are the examples of path functions. So path function is a function which depends upon the path followed. So for example, let us discuss this with a graph. So in this graph, we are plotting the graph with respect to pressure and volume. So for the process A, the work done will be B2A1A. For the process B, the work done will be B2B1A. For the process C, the work done will be B2C1A. So for the different process, the work done will be depends upon the path followed. So this is known as path function. So here we have discussed in the graph. So for the process A, work done is B2A1A. For the process B, work done will be B2B1A. For the process C, work done is B2C1A. So for the three different processes, so the path followed will be different. So it is known as path functions. So examples of path. So we have already discussed about what a state function is also known as point function. Path functions is also known as process functions. So Point function is a function whose value depends upon the initial state and final state only, and it does not depends upon the path followed. So examples of path functions we have already discussed, that is energy, mass, enthalpy, internal energy, entropy, etc. are point functions. So now let us discuss about what is internal energy. It is denoted with the symbol U or E. So we know that every substance is associated with a definite amount of energy. So this definite amount of energy is known as internal energy. So it depends upon the chemical nature as well, and also it depends upon the pressure, temperature and volume. So internal energy is the sum of all the energies. That is, it is the sum of vibrational energy, rotational energy, translational energy, electronic energy and potential energy. So therefore it is represented as E is equal to EV plus ER plus ET plus EE plus EN. So EV is nothing but vibrational energy, ER is rotational energy, ET is translational energy, E is electronic energy and En is potential energy. Therefore internal energy is sum of all the energies, that is internal energy. So internal energy cannot be determined accurately. So the exact value of internal energy cannot be determined accurately. So because it is not possible to determine the exact values of all these energies, that is it is difficult to measure the values of vibrational energy, rotational energy, translational energy, electronic energy and potential energy. So therefore we can able to measure only the change in internal energies, that is delta E or delta U, with the help of first law of thermodynamics. So using the first law of thermodynamics we can able to measure the change in internal energy, that is delta U. So now let us discuss about internal energy and the first law of thermodynamics. So suppose a system is subjected to change in pressure and volume. So let the initial state be represented as A and the final state is represented as B. So therefore UA is nothing but internal energy of the initial state and UB is nothing but internal energy of the final state. So therefore it is represented as UA and UB. The change in internal energy can be given by delta U is equal to UB minus UA. So we have already discussed that UB is internal energy of the final state and UA is internal energy of the initial state. So if work done, W is represented by the symbol W. So work done by the surroundings on the system, that is during the compression of the gas, work is done by the surroundings on the system. So therefore W is taken as positive. So therefore delta U is equal to Q plus W is the mathematical statement of first law of thermodynamics. So using this equation we can easily calculate the change in internal energy delta U. So from the equation, suppose if the work done is done by the system on the surroundings, that means during the expansion of the gas, work is done by the system on the surroundings. Here W is taken as negative, so the equation will be delta U is equal to Q minus W. Now let us discuss about enthalpy or heat content of a system. Enthalpy is represented by the symbol H, capital H. So it is this enthalpy represents the total energy of the system. That is total energy stored in the system is represented as enthalpy. So it is also the heat content of the system or sum of internal energy and the pressure volume change is represented as enthalpy. That is internal energy is nothing but U, pressure volume change is represented as PV. So therefore U plus PV is termed as enthalpy H. So therefore H is equal to U plus PV is the mathematical statement of enthalpy. H is equal to U plus PV is the mathematical statement of enthalpy. So what is unit of enthalpy is kilojoule mole inverse. Unit of enthalpy is kilojoule mole inverse. So change in enthalpy is represented by the symbol delta H. So delta H is nothing but the difference in the enthalpy of final state and the initial state. So delta H is H final minus H initial. Or we can also represent it as delta H as delta H is equal to H2 minus H1. Or in terms of chemical reaction, it can also be represented as delta H is equal to Hp minus Hr. So what is Hp here means enthalpy of product is Hp and Hr is enthalpy of reactant. So it is delta H is equal to Hp minus Hr. So we know that H is equal to U plus Pv. So U is nothing but internal energy, Pv is pressure volume change. So for the final state, we can represent enthalpy as H2 is equal to U2 plus Pv2. For the initial state, H1 is equal to U1 plus Pv1. So change in enthalpy delta H is H2 minus H1. So if you substitute all these values, we can write delta H is equal to U2 minus U1 plus we can take in this P as common. So plus P into V2 minus V1. So we can represent delta H is equal to U2 minus U1 is nothing but delta U plus P into V2 minus V1 is nothing but delta V. So delta H is equal to delta U plus P into delta V. So now let us discuss about zeroth law of thermodynamics. Zeroth law of thermodynamics is nothing but it is the thermal equilibrium among the system which are in contact with each other. So zeroth law of thermodynamics states that suppose if two or more substances are in contact with each other means, so suppose let us discuss when two bodies are at two different temperatures which are in contact with each other means after some time they attain the same temperature. So equal temperature. This is known as thermal equilibrium. Suppose two or more substances in contact with each other, they are at different temperatures means after some time they will all these substances will attain the same temperature. That is known as zeroth law of thermodynamics. Now let us discuss about first law of thermodynamics. Its statement of first law of thermodynamics. So first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So it can be transformed from one form of energy into another form of energy. It can be converted from one form of energy into another form of energy. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. This first law of thermodynamics is also known as law of conservation of energy. So suppose whenever energy is created in one form, it will disappear in the equal amount of energy. So for example, whenever energy in one form disappear means an equal amount of energy in some other form will appear. So energy will neither disappear, neither be destroyed, neither be created. We have already discussed that mathematical statement of first law of thermodynamics is delta U is equal to Q plus W is mathematical statement of first law of thermodynamics. Here we know that W is work done. We know that W is equal to minus P delta V. Okay. So if you substitute this equation in equation number 1 means we will get delta U is equal to Q minus P delta V is also the mathematical statement of first law of thermodynamics. We can either write delta U is equal to Q plus W or delta U is equal to Q minus P delta V. Now let us discuss about enthalpy of vaporization. We have already discussed what is enthalpy. Enthalpy is heat content of the system. So enthalpy of vaporization is nothing but, so what is vaporization? So when a liquid changes into vapor, that is known as vaporization. So when a liquid evaporates, it absorbs heat from the surroundings. For a liquid is converted into vapor, we have to supply heat. So therefore, when a liquid evaporates means it absorbs the heat from the surroundings. So thus evaporation of a liquid is accompanied by increase in the enthalpy of the system. So therefore evaporation of 1 mole of water at 25 degrees centigrade is 40.70 kilojoule mole inverse. So suppose 1 mole of water is converted into 1 mole of vapor and enthalpy of vaporization value will be plus 40 or plus 40.70 kilojoule mole inverse. So why we are putting positive sign means whenever the evaporation takes place means so for vaporization process it accompanied by increase in the enthalpy of the system. So therefore we are mentioning as delta H vaporization for 1 mole of water is 40.70 kilojoule mole inverse. In the reverse process, if for condensation of 1 mole of water vapor, so what is condensation? The vapor changes into liquid is condensation. It involves the decrease in enthalpy of the system because during the condensation process it gives out heat to the surroundings. Therefore, it involves the condensation of water vapor is accompanied by decrease in enthalpy of the system. So, therefore, condensation of 1 mole of water vapor at 25 degrees centigrade is minus 40.70 kilojoule mole inverse. So, H2O vapor to convert into H2O liquid, delta H value will be minus 40.70 kilojoule mole inverse. So, in short we can tell the change in enthalpy delta H of when a liquid changes into vapor or when a vapor changes into liquid, it is known as enthalpy of vaporization. So enthalpy change involved in the when a liquid changes into vapor or vapor changes into liquid is known as enthalpy of vaporization. Now let us discuss about enthalpy of fusion. So what is known as fusion? When a solid melts into liquid, it is known as fusion. We know that when a solid changes into liquid, it is accompanied by absorption of heat from the surroundings. So if you supply heat only, we can change the solid into liquid form. So therefore for this process, the increase in enthalpy takes place. So therefore, suppose when a liquid changes into solid means it evolves heat, therefore decrease in enthalpy takes place. So for example, enthalpy of fusion of 1 mole of water at 0 degree centigrade is 6.02 kilojoule mole inverse. So when an ice melts, when 1 mole of ice melts to liquid, the enthalpy of fusion, that is delta H fusion, is plus 6.02 kilojoule mole inverse. And at the same time, when the water, 1 mole of water changes into ice means for the enthalpy fusion value will be minus 6.02 kilojoule mole inverse. So thus, here also enthalpy of fusion is nothing but change in enthalpy takes place when a solid converts into liquid or liquid converts into solid is known as enthalpy of fusion.